It's Autumn calling in from California. Autumn, what's
Autumn,
up?
guys.
Autumn from Notes from Autumn
Hey,
fame. What's
and
up?
my condolences. Yeah, how are you guys? My condolences on the condom situation, Dan. Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, it's a thing that I'm gonna have to live with, and now the internet gets to live with it too. So at least I'm not alone.
Yeah, we're all living through it
That's
with you
fun.
now.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Mm-hmm. So what's up, Autumn?
Good. Also, a side note before we get into my question, because I didn't want to forget to say this, and I really think it applies here. For the first caller who wanted to talk about philosophy of mathematics, since Rudy is going to be on Talk Heathen, maybe that caller could call in again when J Mike is on Talk Heathen as well, because I've had many conversations about philosophy of math with him, so he would be the
That's
perfect
totally a
person to
J
talk
Mike
about
thing.
that.
Yes. I guess
Yeah.
actually this is a good
So,
time to talk
I
about this
wanted to
too.
mention that.
I am actually going to be hosting on Talk Heathen this Sunday with J Mike. So look
Perfect
forward to that,
timing.
folks. Look at that. Perfect segue. I was going to keep that at the end, but now I get to say that now. So yeah, I'm going to be on this Sunday, and maybe you'll see me on Talk Heathen in the future as well. We'll see. But
Congrats.
good stuff. Fun plugs there. So what questions you got for us, Autumn?
So hopefully, I forget their name. Yeah, I forget their name, but hopefully they'll call back in and talk to you guys next week when J Mike is on then. But
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to Rudy especially, but of course you too, Dan, about basically cult psychology and the distinction between cults and religions, because I figure with a name like Ex-Cult Baby that Rudy uses on their channel, that we could maybe just have a conversation about how you guys like to make that distinction. I of course use the BITE model. Stephen Hassan's book, Combating Cult Mind Control, goes into talking about cult psychology, but I kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts and share my own and talk about that for a little while.
Oh, I don't know if you're watching the show right now, but I literally just like cracked all my knuckles and like I'm ready to go. This is my shit, okay? And you know it. You just want it. You're like, hey, Rudy, here's a soapbox. Go ahead. I mean, I do primarily use the BITE model. Like if I'm like going to be like formally sort of analyzing a religion, but having lived through a cult experience of my own, having read about and heard experiences from other cult survivors, I feel like I can kind of informally analyze them at this point pretty easily and tell the difference. Because most of the time it's pretty obvious you've got somebody who's kind of at the top of the ladder, who gets money or control or sex or all kinds of things from the people who are under them. They've made themselves out to be some kind of messiah or some kind of special leadership that you can only really get whatever it is they're offering, salvation, power, getting into the afterlife, whatever it is, you can only get it through them. No, go ahead.
Right. Another pattern that I realized, kind of adding on to what you're saying, is like it seems like more in high control groups where we want to use the label cult, right? Because we don't want to use it for all religion because then it loses its meaning. But with high control groups, it seems like a lot of the time they want you to form an attachment, like a bond with the group through like almost like the sunk cost fallacy, and where you're investing in the group before you receive the really weird information. Like with regular religion, I feel like everything's pretty like, and what do I mean by regular religion? But with a less controlled religion, all knowledge is like pretty open to everyone. Whereas in cults, I feel like I've noticed this pattern where it's like you have to invest in the people in the group and make sacrifices and form a bond before they'll tell you the more like outrageous or absurd claims that they have, or like this special secret knowledge. Have you noticed that at all?
Yeah, definitely. And I will say there's definitely some cults where the social aspect of the bonding isn't even a thing. Like there's some where everybody in the cult like fucking hates each other, but they're all sort of competing for some sort of prize within the group. But as for having to make sacrifices and stuff, and maybe there being secret information. That's definitely a thing in almost, all these cults. Sometimes the secret information is just that the person at the top doesn't know what they're talking about and just is sexually harassing and assaulting everybody below them, but everybody else doesn't know that everybody else is also getting assaulted. Like, sometimes that's the secret information, is just like, whoops, this guy just really wants to fuck a lot of people. And then sometimes it's, like with the Jehovah's Witnesses, there's literally a book for congregation elders that they aren't even supposed to keep in a place where the rest of their family could perhaps stumble upon it and read it. It's top secret, and it's not even interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I hear. First of all, I hear your cat in the background there, Rudy. So I just want to point that out.
She wants to come in so bad.
I know. We are a pro companion animal show here, so if they want to come in, they should. I don't know where Pico's at. I really need to grab him so that I can show everybody. But the way I think about the cult stuff, right? I agree with you that the bite model is probably the best sort of objective tool that we can use when analyzing groups. But really, I think of any affiliation with an ideology or even just a work team, can be on that spectrum there still. You can still kind of associate and affiliate features there to what a cult would be, but we still wouldn't call it a cult. That's why it's really is kind of a spectrum in my eyes. And so the Love Wins cult recently was in the news. Was that that's a definite pure straight up cult. We can say that for sure because of there was a strict hierarchy there. They literally called their god mom and stuff, and she was there with them, and they hit a bunch of stuff. There was I
haven't heard about this one.
You don't know about the Love Wins cult?
No.
Well, let's see. Man, where do I go with this? It's a long story. I encourage people to look it out. But recently, the mother figure in the Love Wins cult was found mummified in the building that they did their operations at, and they tried to keep from the public and didn't. They wanted to pretend like she was okay, I guess, or was reincarnating into something else. It's complicated.
Okay,
and now
literally the same thing happens in season 4 of Castlevania. Spoilers.
Okay, well.
But that is some crazy ass cult shit. Yeah,
that's cult shit. It's cult shit. Yeah, that's cult shit, right? That's the point. But when you compare that to I don't know, the team building exercises at your workplace or something, you're being asked by an authority figure to do something for possibly monetary compensation or otherwise, and it's okay, what is that, a cult? We wouldn't say that's a cult, but there's still maybe is some levels there. Maybe there is, you're afraid to question authority in some ways because of an abusive work culture or something, or maybe there are there's policies there that enforce that you talk positively about your organization and not think critically about why those policies are being implemented and stuff. So that's why when I talk about people with cults, I encourage people, I don't know, I think is sort of the spectrum idea kind of makes more sense to me than just saying, oh, this is a cult, this is not, because it's a little more gray most of the time, I think, if you really expand the definition out. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I don't know if I contributed to the discussion as much as I could have.
With you that it's like a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, there's a little bit of delay. There's a spectrum or a scale, but I just also think that I agreed with what you guys said about not using the word for everything, because if you call everything a cult, then we don't have a word for high control abusive groups.
Right.
And I don't think all people in religions are abusers and manipulators. Some are, of course, and I think a lot if you don't have a good epistemology for what you believe, then you are open to being manipulated and abused, because I think we very much are mammals that respond to fear and respond to bonding and attachments, probably more primarily than having a good epistemic justification for what we believe.
Yeah, for sure.
I've just been thinking earlier humans didn't think what's logical here when a tiger is jumping out at them? They're just run. It's not is it really a tiger if there's something rustling in the bush? It's you don't have time to stick around and think it out. And that's something that's probably more new to like human beings. So anyways, now I'm rambling, but I'm glad I got a chance to talk to you guys about this.
Yeah.
I love talking to you, Autumn. You know, I love talking to you.
Well, it's an important distinction to bring up because, I mean, yeah, you know, we see it all the time on Twitter, you know, people calling out cults and stuff and using that word super loosely. When
I see it in the YouTube comment sections of literally every ACA show.
And I'm not saying that I haven't made a joke or two about people being in a cult or something, right? But like, it's a very serious allegation when you consider like what we've historically meant by that word when we describe like awful things that have happened with people versus I don't know, people being excited about their softball team or something and saying that their fans are in a cult. You know, like it kind of it does devalue that word there. And when we call someone, when we want to point out, hey, you are in a cult, we want to help you out, like this is really bad, suddenly it loses that sting there. So
yeah, I made an entire video on my YouTube channel, and it is still the one that I end up referencing the most of any of the videos on my channel about not only why all religions are not cults, but why it is actively harmful to use that rhetoric that all religions are cults. It's not helpful to people that have been in cults.
It was the first video I ever watched of you.
Oh, this makes me
that was the first time I ever saw your lovely face.
Oh,
look at these content creators flirting with each other on this program. Crazy stuff. But Autumn, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks so much for contributing to the conversation. And I wish you well. Unless you had any last final shout outs you wanted to bring out there before we end this call.
No. Thank you so much, guys, for taking my call.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you. And very cool that we get to talk to lots of people that also make content and care about the stuff that we do. So you're not an average atheist, Autumn. Forget that meme.
She's in the inner circle.
In the inner circle.